Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a truly special online event today. It's called How Your Soul Communicates Through Your Body. Discover the emotional map hidden in your body to release physical and spiritual pain. My name is Stephen Dinant. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and we have been on a long journey of embodiment at the Shift Network. It's really clear that so much of our spiritual life that we inherited was a lot about getting up and out and transcending, and now it's a lot about bringing it down in and really inhabiting our bodies in a deeper way, recognize them as sacred vessels and opening to a deeper kind of intelligence moving through. So we're going to get to explore some deeper dimensions of this with one of the pioneers in this field. Her name is Bridget Boren. She's a spiritual teacher and founder of the Boren Method. And we're going to be exploring here today with Bridget. And if you like what you hear, we're going to have a brand new course with her coming up called Decoding the Voice of Your Soul Through Your Body. That's really going to take you in a deeper layer of releasing emotional imprints and pain and blockages and opening to higher consciousness through your body. So with that said, Bridget, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. It's gonna be a wonderful topic.
Great. Well, let's dive in with starting with a little bit about your journey and what led you to this work of awakening a deeper intelligence voice of the body.
Absolutely. Well, I actually grew up in the spiritual community. My father was a spiritual teacher for over 50 years. And so growing up, our home was constantly busy. We had people come from all over the world to come learn from my father. We were having workshops and spiritual talks every week. And it really was growing up in that world of spiritual growth. But then at one point, I hit a wall. And like most young people, young adults, I decided I wanted to venture out onto my own. And so I really took a step away from the spiritual path, from the entire world of inner growth. And I thought I would pursue what we are supposed to do, that typical corporate path. And I found myself working in Silicon Valley, working as an executive, leading a 2,000 person team. And from the outside, it looked like my life was going pretty well. And it seemed like I had done what was expected of us. But internally, life was a completely different story. It was filled with depression and panic attacks and anxiety and migraines and a whole host of issues. And ultimately, I tried so hard to hide that from the world. I wanted to live in a way that I thought resembled the perfect facade of life. But it eventually got to a point where I couldn't do it any longer. And I finally threw my hands up in the air. I waved the white flag. And I remembered this specific day calling my dad, asking for help. I had tears streaming down my cheeks. And in his very typical way, he smiled and he simply responded with, "Finally, now your training can begin."
Hmm.
And needless to say, we did not share the same level of enthusiasm in that moment. I did not understand what he meant. But that one conversation, it morphed into a 6 year long full time apprenticeship, learning about the art of spiritual healing and emotional release. We spent 6 full years learning what he had spent more than 50 years of deep spiritual training and realization to uncover about the body, about how emotions, memories, and even past experiences can be stored in the body. He shared that with me in this apprenticeship. And then in the final years of that apprenticeship, he turned to me and asked if I would bring that to the world so that other people could go through the profound transformation that he guided me through. And that's ultimately what this work is all about.
Hmm.
This is me keeping my promise to him.
Hmm. What a touching origin story of this work. I haven't heard as much of that old school kind of apprenticing with your father to bring through a body of work into the world. Well, let's talk about some of the principles that undergird what your the Bourne method and what you've really discovered about the sort of the deeper intelligence of the body.
Yes. Well, we have spent many years in this phase of life that we're in right now. There is this massive awakening happening. And there's so much focus and development being done with regard to the mind. We're learning that through practices like meditation and energy work, our minds can truly become these brilliant tools for our own development. We can learn how to create and manifest beautiful lives. And they really are these incredible tools for us. But this work that my dad shared with me is learning that it's not just the mind that can be developed as a tool, but it's our body as well. That the bodies were created by the divine, just as our minds were, and that our bodies quite literally house this emotional map. And all throughout our body, we have these different energy centers, which underpin things like traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, qigong, and a number of other practices and modalities. But this map houses all of these different emotions, behaviors, even memories. And if we don't learn how to clear them out, we don't learn how to connect with them, those past experiences can actually go on to influence our life, both our external results as well as our internal results, which is exactly what I experienced in my own.
Hmm.
And so now learning how to access that map, it's just the greatest joy getting to do it in my life and getting to see it now for others.
Hmm. So there's a bit of the overlay of ancient systems, and also it sounds like some of your own discoveries as well. So maybe share a little bit about that kind of the overall map and some of the broad contours that are most relevant for today.
Sure. So when we look at this map, there are connections to, say, the modality of Qigong. There's a lot of connection to Qigong and this energy practice. But we also look at how can we do things like channeling spiritual energy and some specific healing practices into the body to start working with this map in a very focused way and in a true partnership. It's a just beautiful practice learning how to connect with the body for our own growth, our own evolution. And some of the practices, they change a bit because we focus on not only things like our organs or our chakras. And usually, when we start introducing a topic like this, and when I start introducing the Boren method to people, they immediately light up and say, wonderful. I know about the chakras. I know about the energy meridians. And that's so wonderful and so helpful for this work. But it actually goes even deeper. We have different energy centers, even in places like the joints, like the knees, the hips, even places like the elbows, but also areas like the organs. Your liver actually is directly tied to specific functions of your life, not just the physical functions, but emotional and spiritual as well. You can look at areas like the pelvis, the toes, areas that we don't often spend a lot of time thinking about in day to day life until we have discomfort in them. And a lot of this work is learning what that discomfort might be teaching us.
Mhm. So how might you go into discomfort in a way that sort of reveals some of the deeper layers and messages?
The very first step is learning that your body is not betraying you. So often, when we feel pain, we feel dysfunction, some kind of discomfort in the body, it's very understandable to feel frustrated with or angry at the body as if it's letting us down. It's not behaving in the way it should. Maybe we are having pain in our leg and it feels like, well, now I can't do the things that I love, enjoy the practices that I love so much. But that actually blocks a lot of this release and the energetic clearing that can take place. So, really, we begin with learning that all 30 trillion cells in our body have one mandate, and that is to help you succeed. So, we change that mindset from feeling like this is some kind of problem or like our body is failing us, and instead learning to see that the body is actually communicating and that when we open our mind to that truth, that these pains, dysfunction, some kind of sensation we're feeling in the body, even perhaps a lack of mobility, a lack of range of movement somewhere, may not be a mistake. It may not be a failing. It may very well be an actual message. And this ties into a very important truth in our world today that when we're growing up in society today, we're often no longer taught how to communicate with our soul. When we're in elementary school, middle school, high school, we're not often given lessons on how to hear your intuition, how to hear your soul's guidance for you. But of course, in ancient traditions, that very much was taught because it was understood that our spiritual nature is the most important part of who we really are. Because we're not often taught how to hear the voice of our soul, the divine has learned to start using the body as a way to get messages through to us. And I think this touches on a larger principle that's so important to remember for all of us. And that is that life is benevolent. Life genuinely wants each and every one of us to grow, to succeed, to be healthy, to live a life you absolutely love. And life wants us to discover who we really are.
Mm.
And a big part of that is knowing that life uses our body in many ways through these sensations, not to punish us, not to upset us, but to actually show us ways that we might be stepping off our path. We might be getting out of alignment with who we are. Or what's very common, the ways that we're still holding on to the past in our body, which is serving as an anchor to our forward growth.
Mm. So that pivot to a deeper appreciation for the benevolence of the universe expressing through our body with benevolent messages that assist us sounds like it's very foundational. Can you give an example of how something that somebody might be resisting for a long period of time, you can find and kind of peel back the layers and find the benevolent intent in that?
I'd actually like to share with you an example of one of my students, a woman, she went through this just amazing transformation through this work. She was dealing with knee pain in her life, and she was only in her 30s. And she had had no injuries, nothing had happened, and suddenly found herself dealing with a lot of discomfort in her knees. And it just steadily increased. It started limiting her mobility, it started affecting her ability to work, to pursue some of her hobbies, time with family. And so she did what we should absolutely do. She did the right thing. She went to her doctor. And she went to a whole host of doctors, and they ran all of the tests. They treated her with such tenderness and care. And then she got the shocking news: nothing's wrong with your knees. You are perfectly healthy.
Mm.
Now, normally that would be the best news ever, but to her, it was shocking because it didn't explain why she was dealing with all of this pain. And it was right around that time that she found this work. She worked on learning how to clear emotions stuck in the knees. And that sentence may be surprising to some people, hearing that emotions and memories can be in the joints of the body. And in fact, the knees are the single most commonly used part of the body for holding emotions from the past.
Mm.
So I worked with her, teaching her how you can start releasing emotions without having to relive old experiences, without having to go into the stories, the discomfort of those old experiences, but learning how energetically to start clearing them out. And the breakthrough she had, she discovered within 2 weeks of starting to practice, she discovered this amazing amount of anger. She had no idea she was angry, but she tapped into all of this anger she had been holding from years ago that had been stored in the knees. Within 30 days of doing the practices every day, she was completely pain free. And it was incredible to see and hear her relay this experience of she didn't have to go back. She didn't have to relive anything. It didn't take years and years of work. It was just learning that her body wanted her to succeed. Her body wanted her to heal and do well. It was just learning how to work with the energy of the body to help facilitate that.
Hmm. That's a great story. It was funny that I mentioned there's a little bit of stagnancy in my knees too. So I was like, okay, we'll kind of work with that beyond here. But so when you're saying that it's like you're really kind of just letting the emotions come forward without reliving, maybe share a little bit more about how you're doing that in a way that sort of doesn't have to go back into the whole experience that's underneath.
So there's really two very important pieces of this. One is actually learning how to feel an emotion in a healthy way. And the second is learning that there are two different aspects of memories. There's the physical memory, and that's just the facts of the situation. We can use something very neutral, like the last time you went to the grocery store to buy food. There is the facts of it. That would be the food that you put in your grocery shopping cart, and then the food that you purchased, and then you carried the bags out to your car and you drove home.
Mm.
And then we add in the second part of that, and that is the emotional layer. And that would be our reaction to things. Maybe someone bumped into you in that grocery store and you felt frustrated. Maybe you were stressed about a project at work that isn't completed yet. But those two aspects, the physical memory, which are just the facts of the situation, and the emotion, are actually two different pockets of energy. Now, the
Hmm.
facts of and a memory, the actual physical facts of what happened, those are largely stored in the mind, in this powerful tool we have in our brain that is incredible at recalling past experiences, and it files memories away so that we can access them later to help make decisions. It's all about keeping us safe. But the emotional underpinning of it, this is a completely different piece of emotional architecture. This energy of those emotions, those actually don't go into the brain, those are stored in the physical body unless we've been taught how to healthfully feel and express and release that emotion in the moment. And very few people are taught that. If only when we were growing up, if someone sat us down and said, here's how to be angry, here's how to be sad, here's how to be stressed out in a moment without letting it carry you down for years to come. Here's how to feel something and move through it.
Mm-hmm.
But very few of us are taught that. And so we instead do the thing that we think is the healthiest. We swallow our emotion. Maybe we don't want to cause a scene. Maybe we don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Maybe we want to just be polite. We learn to swallow our emotions. And that is where this work becomes important. Because while that physical memory is stored in the brain, whenever we swallow those emotions, those are coming down into the body. Those are getting stored. And so part of this work is we'll use some Qigong based practices, learning how to move that emotional part, that emotional packet of energy out of the body. But it's also learning then how do we feel it in the moment without going into that memory? And that comes back to this piece that, well, there's actually stored in two different places. We've got that memory in the mind. We don't need to go back into that. And the memory of it is not actually the piece that can cause us pain and discomfort down the line. It's learning, okay, if I have an emotion that needs to come up, for example, the woman clearing her knees, and she learned how to feel anger in the moment. It rose up, she felt it for about 30 seconds, it dissolved away. And it's a beautiful practice of learning that there's an actual technique grounded in presence, in mindfulness, to feeling our emotions in a way that doesn't take us back into the story of what happened. It doesn't have to anchor us to the past. In fact, it brings us this incredible freedom. And I think that comes back to what so many wonderful spiritual teachers, gurus, and saints throughout history have taught us. And that is that to progress on the spiritual path, it's never about what we get. It's never about taking in more. It's always directly tied to what we let go of. And that is so important for anyone who is trying to make progress on their spiritual path. It's what is it that's in your body now that your body and your soul are calling out for you to let go of?
Mm.
Not because it's uncomfortable, not because you need to feel negatively about the past, but rather because everything in your life wants you to succeed and to make progress, to grow, to connect with your soul. And some of these past experiences can be weighing us down. This is actually, if we think about things like acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine or Qigong, many of these modalities work with the energy system through the body. And we're taught about these powerful energy meridians. And these are several thousand-year-old traditions that have been carried through that are so powerful, so important. And much of that work teaches us that we can have these energetic blockages around the energy meridians in the body. And with the Boren method and the work that my dad spent over 50 years developing, was learning that those energetic blockages are very often created not by, let's say, not working with our energy enough or not being flexible enough, but rather they're most often caused by emotions that we didn't feel prepared or willing to feel in the moment, or by our reactions to experiences in the past that maybe they felt intense in the moment. We didn't know how to deal with them. And this work is all about learning you can go in, you can be taught how to feel it without going into the story and see those blockages open, they dissolve away, and it can happen rather quickly. And that really is this propelling motion to making progress on the spiritual path, opening up those blockages.
Beautiful. And what I hear in the way you describe it is that you're not sort of like trying to fix the blockages or make them go away so much as liberate their original intent and their positive message. It sounds like so that kind of softens your relationship with it a bit, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And that's our experiences were never punishment. And nothing in your life comes to you to punish you or to make you feel bad. And I hope for everyone listening that you genuinely take that in, that everything in our life comes for one purpose, and that is to teach us lessons. And it's so true. I'm sure we've all heard that we learn almost nothing from the good, easy moments in life. Although, don't get me wrong, we would all love to have nothing but fantastic luck and all green lights when we're driving, and life is beautiful and everything works perfectly. We would all love that. That'd be absolutely phenomenal. But when we have all easy, free flowing experiences, those experiences teach us to stay the same. It's when we have experiences that challenge us. Those ones come to teach us the ways that it's time for us to step into the next level of our growth.
Hmm.
And I think that that mindset shift is so important, especially when we look at doing deep inner work, that your experiences were never there to punish you. They were never there to be an anchor or to stop you. They're coming to show us lessons.
Hmm.
And it's often by holding on to the negative feelings tied to those lessons that we accidentally, inadvertently hold ourselves back. And I think
Beautiful.
bringing this love and this gratitude and acceptance to that is incredibly powerful.
Hmm. It's really clear in how you talk about it that is this is very much a lived experience for you. So yeah, beautiful wisdom. Let's take some time now. I know you want to guide us on a bit of an experience to put this into motion in our own lives. So how about you do that now?
I would love to. So, for this practice, I'm going to guide you through a guided meditation for dropping into the flow state. And it's actually for a very important reason. When we look at doing any kind of inner work, any kind of creative expression, or even needing to make big decisions at work, these practices, they all require some kind of prep that often gets missed. When we just try to jump into creative expression or inner work while we're in the midst of our busy modern lives, we often feel stuck and it can feel confusing or murky as to how to go forward. But when instead we take just a few moments to bring ourselves back into the body, into the present moment, and into a flow state, you'll see how quickly your body responds to it. It's remarkable. And you actually open up the energy throughout your body to help you with things like creativity, decision making, and even accessing your own inner world. So I'd like to guide you through a short guided practice so that you can experience this in real time. And to begin, we'll start seated wherever you are. I'll have you close your eyes And just take a deep inhale and exhale together. Let's take one more. Nice deep inhale, filling the lungs. And an exhale, letting it all out. And take your hands, place them comfortably in your lap. And bring your attention to your spine. Without tensing it, let's bring our spine straight so the energy can flow up and down gracefully through the spine. You may feel your shoulders want to sink back on your chest, opening the heart center and the chest. Keeping the eyes closed. Bring your attention to your forehead and feel your forehead soften and melt, letting the eyebrows soften and fall heavy. Feeling your scalp relax. Any tension from the day just washing right off. And bring your awareness gently down over the cheeks to your jaw, letting the jaw go heavy. Your lips may part, your tongue relaxes. Let your awareness glide down to your shoulders, feeling them go heavy and soft. Your arms may rest heavier in your lap. And bring your attention now down to the hips. See if you can make your hips heavier in your chair, letting the chair and the earth beneath you hold your body for you. All tension washing away out of those hips. From the hips, we let our attention glide over to your hands resting in your lap. Feel your fingers unclench and soften. The thumbs grow heavy. Resting their full weight in your lap. Your awareness, like a gentle energy, glides now down the legs to the feet, letting the feet grow heavy against the ground. Feeling the toes soften. And just let the body sit here for a moment, feeling heavy. Letting the earth hold you up. Now you'll gently bring your awareness to the center of your chest, the heart center. Keeping your eyes closed, with your mind focused on your heart center. I invite you to think of someone or something that you just love. This could be a person, a beloved animal, a beautiful spot in nature, a tender moment with a loved one, something that lights your heart up. Keep your attention focused on that heart. While you feel it expand and warm, your heart center being allowed to open back up. Notice the sensation you feel in your chest as you focus on this person or this place that you absolutely love. Feel this unraveling, this blossoming in your heart space. And we'll give permission to that loving energy to expand beyond the heart center. Let it fill your chest all the way up to your collarbone and your shoulders. You feel it shining out to the back and the spine. Let that loving energy wash down your left arm all the way into your fingertips. Let it shine down your right arm, through your palm and into your fingers. Feel this warm love in your heart center. Shine up through the neck, washing over your face, over your scalp, over your forehead, bathing yourself in loving energy. Feel that love now wash down through the torso. It's like a warm sunlight washing over your organs, your skin, down into the hips. And it carries on, moving through the legs, into the knees, and down through the calves and into your feet. Notice any sensation of your energy responding to this love. You may feel tingling or temperature as your full body is washed with loving energy. Let that energy now shine out from your body, filling the energy space all around you like a gentle golden light radiating out of your heart center. We'll let that loving energy drift back into the body, bringing your attention back to that heart center. Feeling the energy in your body tingle and reverberate. You can gently wiggle your fingertips, feeling them respond to the energy. Gently wiggle your toes, feeling them dance with this loving energy. And from this space, take a deep inhale through the nose and a deep exhale. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the present moment. This practice helps to bring our mind back into the present moment, into a flow state, using the incredibly powerful frequency of love. And we often have these beautiful heart opening tools at our disposal through the loved ones, the beautiful moments, the memories we've had that can touch us right at the heart center and help us connect before any practice, whether you're at work, whether you are creating a beautiful piece of music, any kind of time when you need to really be present, to flow with life. This practice is the perfect way to touch back into the present moment and get you in the state to do that.
Beautiful. Well, there's just, yeah, a very lovely quality to that meditation and really extending that kind of love bath through all of our body. Do you then tend to bring that into areas where you might have had something blocked or pain to sort of explore a bit what the deeper layers might be?
I do. I think it can be such a powerful practice to cultivate this sense of inner love, this inner peace, and then bring some of that loving energy to a part of your body that may feel tense or tight. If you felt some kind of discomfort in a hand, for example, to go into that flow, that guided meditation, and close it by sending love into that hand, or perhaps into the knees, like we were speaking about earlier. Even right now, you could do something really lovely for the body is just taking those hands, place them on the knees, and love into your knees. It's incredible how receptive the body is, and it responds so quickly to having this loving energy be really cultivated. And it's so important to remember that we're not going outside and getting love. No one can sell us a bottle of love, right? It's actually something that we're cultivating inside, and it's always available to us. We just sometimes need to be gently encouraged and guided to reconnect with that.
Beautiful. Well, do you want to, are there other, I've been asking more questions and just, are there other aspects of the Bourne method and really seeing how our body becomes the voice, expression of our soul that you wanted to share here today?
I think there's an important point related to this idea of this energetic or emotional map in the body. And that is that, as we talked about earlier, we don't often have this very clear, direct communication channel with our soul. So the body, or excuse me, the soul will use the body to communicate to us. But to make that even more specific, that really is because specific emotions and specific behaviors are tied to very particular parts of the body. And a point on that is related to our organs and our joints that most people are actually never taught. And that's related to the spiritual job of our body parts. Now, we don't often think of our body as this profound tool for our spiritual growth, but in fact, every single organ in your body has a very particular spiritual job in addition to its physical functioning. Like, as an example, your spleen, located on the left side of the body, is actually the organ that is most closely tied to your spiritual progress in life.
Hmm. I've
Now, when
not
I
heard that.
ask people, what part of your body governs spiritual growth? I can tell you 100% of the time I get two answers. It's either my brain or my heart.
Right.
Both make sense. It makes perfect sense. And I too felt the exact same way before I went under this study with my dad. But it's actually the spleen. And we can even look back at 2,000-year-old trainings in traditional Chinese medicine and see ancient teachings related to this, which is really fascinating. We can look at even shamanic traditions, teachings related to this, how important the spleen is. And then we look at, okay, that's the spiritual functioning of that organ. But then we want to connect it to, well, what might be blocking that? What might be slowing it down or inhibiting its ability to help me grow? And that's where we start really getting deep and specific in this work. Like, for example, with the spleen, do you have any idea what the one emotion is that slows the spleen down from allowing you to make spiritual progress? Do you have any
I
guess?
don't actually know.
It's worry.
Oh,
The
that's interesting.
energy, the frequency of worry is immediately taken in by the spleen and inhibits its ability to perform its spiritual function, which is really fascinating. And if we look at it from a wide perspective, it actually makes sense in a way
Hmm.
because worry is the opposite of faith.
Right. You're sort of
Like,
sending a negative message about what is rather than sort of seeing the beauty and blessing in it.
absolutely. And we're worried about the future rather than living in the present moment, although often for very understandable reasons. And we might be worried rather than leaning into trusting life, trusting the divine, trusting our soul. And all of that can actually accumulate energetically in that spleen. And that's just one example of how the body is this really miraculous map of emotions, of behaviors, even of stories of our past. Things like limiting beliefs that we believed about ourselves or about others can get stored and buried in the body. But there's a map that explains why they go to specific areas and what the ripple effect will be in our life. But most importantly, above all, how to clear them out.
Mhm.
That's what we want for everyone.
Beautiful. Well, Bridget, it's really clear just how much you are a reflection of this work. Just really emanate a lot of love and peace and gratitude and in your presence and the insights into the specific ways that our body maps our both our emotional and spiritual life are really fascinating. So I think it'd be great to spend some time now talking about your upcoming course, which is a great way to really learn from Bridget and receive the benefit of this whole system that she and her father have developed. And the course she's going to be teaching is called Decoding the Voice of Your Soul through your body. Release the emotional imprints of pain to dissolve blockages and awaken higher consciousness. You can find it at the URL bodysoulmap.com. It's a 7-week program. There's no prerequisites or particular background for this. It's really just if you feel the intuitive nudge that this is important for you to learn. So Bridget, I'd love for you to share in your own words some of the intentions you have for what folks will come away with, and then let's go through the modules and give a tour of the classes.
I really put this together to help people develop this communication channel with their body so they can understand why what they're experiencing in their body is happening, what it's trying to tell them, ultimately, so that they can make incredible spiritual growth, emotional growth, freedom from the past, but not just for their own life, but in service of this great global awakening that we're getting to fortunately live through right now.
Beautiful. Module 1 is called Learn the Language of Your Body to Process Emotions and Feel More at Home Within.
So, for this module, we're going to dive into some of these techniques for accessing parts of your body, learn how to develop a mind body connection and communication channel with your whole physical body, not just so that we can tell if we're tense, but more on a deep spiritual level. We can start understanding what it is the body is trying to communicate to you to help you.
Module 2, navigate your soul's path through the wisdom of your knees and feet to restore flow and alignment.
Yes. So for this, we're going to begin at the root. We're beginning with the feet and the knees. And most people, when I bring up how will we begin, they often say, let's begin with the mind. And that's actually where we'll end. So we want to start with module 2, exploring these powerful connections in your feet, your toes, and your knees. You can learn what emotions get stored there and why, and very practical but powerful techniques for releasing emotions and memories stored here.
Module 3, clear stored anger in your liver, gallbladder, and pancreas to experience greater patience, joy, and emotional ease.
In this module, we're going to dive into irritability, frustration, anger, impatience, nearly universal emotions, but emotions that we're not often taught how to deal with. And you'll learn how they connect to parts of the body like the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. And most importantly, how we can start bringing more loving energy and more energetic freedom to those body parts so that we're not weighed down by habitual anger, impatience with others or with ourselves.
Module 4, restore creative flow through your hips and pelvis to feel more open, expressive, and alive.
Yes, here you're going to learn about the energetic powerhouse that is housed within the pelvis and the hips. You'll learn all about how it's directly tied to your ability to create, to nurture, and to even perform self healing like energy healing practices. This is an incredibly powerful part of the body, but it stores very specific things related often to not only our own behaviors, but our limiting beliefs.
Module 5, release stored emotion in your core to reclaim your power, direction, and inner stability.
So we move on up through the body. We're getting higher and higher through the energy system. And we rise up from the hips and the pelvis into the core, the torso. And you'll learn more about where different areas, different energies have been stored there. So you can bring more lightness, more freedom, and joy to things like the stomach, like the back, like the core, giving you more freedom and joy in your daily life.
Module 6, open your heart to release grief and feel love flow through your life.
I would say grief is one of the two most misunderstood emotions in our world today. And often, when we go through experiences where there is grief or loss or sadness, we often feel like we have to either bury it so we don't make others uncomfortable, or we can often feel a bit lonely, like no one's there to sit with us through it and help us through it. So this is going to be a really powerful module, help people learn how you can gently release old grief, old sadness or disappointment from the past so it no longer weighs you down. And you can learn very powerful practices for opening your heart center so you feel filled with love every day.
Module 7, activate your voice and vision to speak with confidence and move toward your purpose.
Now our energy is flowing up. We're clearing all the way through from the feet to the heart center, and we move to the throat. And you'll learn about this very powerful spiritual connection between the throat center and your third eye. You'll learn how to start clearing out emotional and energetic blockages that may be affecting your communication and even your desire and willingness to pursue the things that you really feel passionately about. And we'll connect that to this sense of great inner and outer vision through the spiritual eye.
Well, what a beautiful program. It really just creates a whole different relationship with our body, our mission, our spirituality, and the ways that we can really turn our pain and challenges into opportunities for growth and listening and development. So really beautiful offering. So again, it's all at bodysoulmap.com, and I'll share a little bit more about it. So there's the 7 90-minute live modules that we just described with Bridget. You also have time in each of those to do practices together and engage in Q&A, which is really helpful. You'll get recordings for every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts. There are weekly practices you can do at home, which are really going to help deepen your inquiry and learning, as well as a community group to support you and deepen your experience as well. Bridget's also been very generous with bonuses for this course. There's a video called Meditation for Expanding Your Mind. Want to share more about that, Bridget?
Absolutely. So this we're going to be focused into a very powerful practice for expanding and broadening your consciousness so that we can move beyond limitations or experiences from the past and feel this hopeful, bright, joyful positivity and true path forward for yourself.
Beautiful bonus. Then there's a second bonus. It's a video from Bridget also. It's called Full Body Emotional Clearing Qigong Routine.
Yes, I'll be sharing this very powerful full body routine that I actually use in my own life all the time. I teach it to my students, and it's a wonderful practice which can be used as a regular practice for yourself to clear out anything that you may have picked up, also from others. We can also pick up energy and emotions from other people. And in this practice, you're going to learn how to release that. So if you've had a day where you felt like you took on some stress or tension from other people, this will guide you through exactly how to clear it out in 30 minutes.
Beautiful. And then there's one final bonus, was actually very robust. It's full 5 videos, all about a knee clearing workshop to clear repressed emotion from your knees to move with greater freedom and confidence. And that sounds particularly relevant for me, and I think a lot of people. And so, Bridget, you want to share more about today's special bonus that folks get when they sign up by midnight, the knee clearing workshop?
Yes, I'm really excited about this one. It's a special workshop I put together for each of you. And as I mentioned earlier, the knees are the single most commonly used part of the body for storing old emotions from the past. This workshop is going to guide you through in very gentle, short daily practices so that you can start developing a practice of releasing these, exactly like my student who I shared with you had this remarkable transformation in 30 days. This workshop is going to get you started on that path.
That's awesome. Well, it's a great reason to sign up right away. So the knee clearing workshop, all 5 videos, is your bonus when you sign up by midnight. So it's clearly going to be such a, beautiful program and really practical and also very spiritually illuminating. And so we've kept the investment very accessible for this. It's just 3 payments of $128, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start on May 19th and run Tuesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you will still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. There's some beautiful testimonials on the page about Bridget's teaching, presence, warmth, depth of expertise, and the life-changing effects. So you can get a taste for the kind of impact that it's had in people's lives to do this work. And so you're in really good hands, and I'm sure you will get many beautiful blessings by moving forward. And again, it's all at bodysoulmap.com, and the name is Decoding the Voice of Your Soul Through Your Body. Release the emotional imprints of pain to dissolve blockages and awaken higher consciousness. So, Bridget, what a pleasure to be with you. You're just really emanate to so much peacefulness and depth and wisdom. And anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering doing your course?
For anyone who's considering, I would just gently encourage you to remember that the work that we do for ourselves is not just for us. It's not just for our family or for the people who are in our immediate environment. We really are living through this amazing, unprecedented time of awakening. There are millions of people awakening spiritually all over the world. And yet, one of the greatest blockages that we're all facing is learning how to use not just our minds as a tool for our spiritual growth, but our bodies as well. And so, for anyone who's considering, I hope that you'll join us so that you can take part not only for yourself, but in service of this great awakening we're all being a part of.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for your wisdom, and thank you all for joining, and look forward to seeing many of you in Bridget's upcoming course. And again, it's all at bodysoulmap.com, and you'll get that special 5-part knee clearing workshop when you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you so much. Many
Thank
blessings.
you.